This is Selena Yvette, host of Stories from Planet Earth. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
What is up, my friends? It is Julianne Candia, the host of Rewritten. I hope so deeply that you are finding joy this week. I think that is important during this time, to be able to see the joy and be able to express the gratitude. It can be hard when you're feeling lonely or isolated or sad that plans keep getting canceled, or nervous, or just the uncertainty of where this year will go. I just hope so bad that you are finding the joy. I love being able to share my best practices with you. Lessons that I've learned, whether in entrepreneurship, in life, whatever it is. I'm constantly working on my mindset development and just wanting to get better. And I just have a deep passion for helping other women dream bigger and live a bigger life, where they don't have to settle down and just accept whatever there is to accept, that if they want more, they can have more. And I'm talking about more time with the people that you love, right? Not having the burden of finances on your chest at night and thinking that has to be it forever, but being able to dream bigger than your salary, dream bigger than what you were ever taught in your past. And I think Rewritten is that space, and it's just about rewriting your story, not blaming it for the bad and all the trauma, blaming it for the good too, because there are hidden blessings in every season of life, regardless if it was the most grueling, painful, scary season or one that has been thrilling and exciting. There are blessings everywhere. We've just got to look for them. I definitely believe abundance lives everywhere. There's an abundant amount of love. There's an abundant amount of resources. And it's just all about mindset and perspective. Whatever you're focusing on, that expands. During this pandemic, the last 2 weeks have been challenging. And the reason that they've been challenging, on top of social media being a really hard place to be right now, on top of a pandemic and quarantine, on top of George Floyd and all of the brutality that is going on and being exposed and recorded and coming more to our attention, which I think is so important. This time can feel emotionally heavy. And during these last few weeks, I have had two good friends lose people in their life. And I know I've been talking about this a bit because it's so hard to shake. It is so hard to be in this time and not be able to be there for the people that you love. And so I just wanted to share with you how I have shown up. And I think we can second guess ourselves when people are hurting or mourning or in quarantine or whatever. And we just so second guess because we don't want to be too much. We don't want to break rules, or we don't want to offend anybody. Like, we're just playing this tiptoe game. And I think more than ever, people just need us to show up. They need us to show up with love. They need us to show up with resources and support. And during quarantine, that can be hard, but I want to show you and share with you how I've done that, because honestly, I want to look back at this time and not only laugh about the toilet paper scenarios that were happening, but I really want to look back and see how I showed up, because I remember people who show up in my life, in big moments of my life, who were there and who have supported me. And so I also think about the same of sometimes we tiptoe and we just choose to do nothing because we don't want to be too much or offend or all those things, right? We just don't want to do that. But I think the person that we show up for, they're going to remember that you showed up for them. Even if they weren't ready to receive it yet, even if they were impatient, even if they were struggling with anger or confusion, or they don't even fully remember everything, the details you did, but just learning how to show up. And so for me, how I've showed up for people right now in this time is that I've called a lot of people because people have more time. It's super easy to make the excuse that we don't have time to call or it wouldn't be a good time, but I think time is something we don't get back. It's our most precious resource. People are our most precious resource. Time allows us to be with our most precious resource, and we're just not going to get that time back. We're just not going to get that back. How do you want to show up for people? I would rather have a phone call with my mom than watch a Netflix show if I have not talked to her yet. So, fun fact, this isn't all quarantine, that since Faye has been born, she has talked to her grandparents every day on FaceTime. And that is just a habit we built, and it is not hard. It can be 2 minutes one day, it can be an hour another. It just depends on the schedule. We might be moving around and not home or all the things, and we still do it. It might be like, crap, we're going to bed and we haven't called them yet. We need to call them. It's all over. It's not at the same time every day. And that, to me, is so special, knowing that that is something that we committed to, and it brings joy to my heart. I know we won't regret that. We won't regret more time that we've spent investing in people, right? And another way we show up for, let's just say Eric's mom, we love her, and anytime we're visiting them, and this isn't just quarantine, it's super easy to not spend time with family that you have known your whole life. But if there's anything I've learned, is that we're not going to get this time back. Eric and I have zero regrets with how much time we spent with his mom. Anytime we are there visiting or she's here visiting and we are going on a walk, we always invite her because we know we won't get that time back. We know we can look back and think, wow, we got to spend so many meaningful minutes with her, right? That's a way we show up for people. And I know it's different in quarantine and not necessarily with friends, maybe more family, is just inviting them to do things with you. A big way we showed up in quarantine with the idea of isolation, right, is that this is a time where people are feeling really isolated and lonely, is that we have used Zoom to play board games with friends. And so we have probably played 50 plus games of Settlers of Catan, and we just play on our board game. They have their pieces. We do I'm not going to get into logistics of how we do it, but for real, we play Catan every week with our friends, maybe multiple times a week, and that has been an awesome way to show up. I know that that's deepened our relationship. I know that that has a smile on my face when I look back and remember that we were all in quarantine and what we chose to do about it. So that has been a huge thing for us in our community. And also, like, thinking about our family who has that board game, or friends we haven't seen in a while, and not just our Bay Area friends that we've been Zooming with, but people from Milwaukee that we haven't physically been in the same room as in a long time, just being able to call them and say, hey, would you be able to play a game, right? And so that has been, maybe you could do a virtual happy hour, I don't know. It has just been such a great way to show up for people. Another way we've showed up for people is that we've had some friends in mourning, like I've been talking about, and so big thing was we need to make sure we get a meal train conducted for them, right? And so you could facilitate that, and maybe a friend in your friend group has a better organizational brain than you do, but just being able to say, hey, these are the 3 things we need to do with our friend. Who can make a meal train, right? That is showing up for your friend who's hurting, even though they didn't know that you did that. Another way you can show up for people is that if you have a friend or a family member that has a GoFundMe because of a sudden loss or whatever, being able to contribute to that. I think that sending meals to a friend who just had a miscarriage is everything. Being able to use technology and an app like DoorDash and show up for that person even though you can't fly across the country or go visit them because of quarantine. That is a powerful way to show up for someone. To send a text and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. What can I pray for? How have you been doing? Where have you been finding the joy? That is a way to show up for somebody. My friend she lost her mom unexpectedly, and my friend Lauren drove to her house and did her laundry. Another friend with the same one who lost her mom went grocery shopping for her and cut up all the vegetables, all the fruits, and got everything ready to go in their fridge. It doesn't have to be something physical like an act of service, but just an act of thought, act of emotion of, hey, I love you, I miss you, how are you? I want to look back in 2020 and in this pandemic and know I showed up for people, even when we were in isolation, even though I couldn't see my family for over 6 months. I am going to show up. I'm going to look back and know that there were so many hidden blessings that I couldn't see yet. And I can't help but think the hidden blessings are the development of relationships that we've invested in during this time. Instead of choosing to watch TV and do all these things all the time, we do them sometimes, right? We decided instead to invest in relationships because people are our greatest resource. And time is something we're not going to get back. So friend, my question for you is, how are you showing up? How are you showing up for the people in your life? How are you being there for them, even if you can't physically be there for them? And it doesn't have to be a money resource. It could be snail mail. It could be, hey, I thought of you the other day because I know you have this really hard day coming up. How are you? I'm here for you. I'm with you. You may not be ready yet. You might be struggling, but I want you to know I'm not going anywhere. Friend, you showing up for somebody expands your heart. It deepens relationships, and it gives people a perspective of joy during a really hard time. Thanks so much for tuning in to Rewritten. I appreciate you. If you could screenshot this, upload it, tag me at Julianne Condia. I would love that so much. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.